Welcome back to my animal education series. Today I'm here with Kelsey at the World Bird Sanctuary. Hello.
Hi, how are you doing?
Doing good. So who do we have here?
We have Waylon, the blue and yellow macaw.
So where can you find these macaws in the wild?
So all of the macaw species are found in the New World. They're found in Central or South America.
And what kind of environments do these macaws prefer?
So they're going to live in forested areas, usually in actually more like the rainforest, and they'll live in pretty decent sized family groups.
So obviously they have really bright coloration. How does that help them in the wild?
In the wild, I'm not entirely certain, but I'm pretty sure a big part of it does have to do with maybe identifying each other. But on top of that, coloration can also be a big part of camouflage. And sometimes we might not think of yellow and blue as camouflage, but it's kind of like how you might not think of camouflage with zebra stripes, but in the grassland they're tough to see because of those. So it probably does have something to do with that.
So how old is this bird here?
Waylon is 42 years old this year.
And how old do they usually live for?
In captivity, probably around 60 is average. They can live a lot longer, but the average is about 60.
So obviously all people that see like parrots and macaws, they want one. What would you say to the people who are still like dead set on getting a
if you
bird?
really want a parrot, I recommend not starting with a macaw. Budgies are really good ones to start with, or cockatiels. But if you really, if you know your birds really well, you can get something like a macaw or an African gray, but you need to know they live a long time. And on top of that, it's kind of like having the mentality of a 2-year-old, but for 60 years, and they need a lot of attention. Most parrot species need a minimum of 2 hours outside of their cage each day.
And that can become like a burden if you have to do it over a long period of time or if you're busy.
Absolutely. But on top of that, like if you go out of town, it's really hard to sometimes find a place or somebody that can actually watch your bird and properly take care of them.
So what do these macaws eat in the wild?
So in the wild, they'll eat all sorts of things. They'll eat fruits, they'll eat nuts, they'll eat vegetables. And a neat thing about parrots is they're actually not herbivores. They will actually sometimes eat small lizards that they find, or frogs. There's actually not any bird species that's strictly herbivorous.
And what do you feed them here?
So here he gets a mixture of fruits and vegetables, more veggies than fruits because they're healthier for him. And then he also gets a pelleted diet in the afternoon as well. Right now, though, he's getting sunflower seeds for being a good boy. Yeah.
So what kind of education programs do you use the macaws for?
So some of our zoo show programs that we do, like at the Stone Zoo and the Milwaukee County Zoo, we actually have some parrots and macaws that fly. Some of them do a lot of speaking at those programs, and Waylon doesn't really do a whole lot of either of those things, but Waylon does know how to take donations. So if he's on a donation bin, he does take dollars from people, so he helps out with that. But we get to teach people about endangered species. Even though he's not an endangered species, the illegal pet trade with parrots has led to a lot of extinct and endangered parrots. So the military macaw, which is a different macaw species than him, yeah, it's a different one, those ones are critically endangered in the wild. So we talk about responsible pet ownership and making sure that if you do get something like a parrot, you get them from a reputable breeder, or you adopt, don't shop. That's always a big one. But you make sure that it's not a bird that came from the wild.
So how did you guys get this macaw here?
So Waylon was originally hatched at Busch Gardens, Tampa, and we used to do programming down at Busch Gardens. And he was actually one of our extra special birds. So if you're going to hold up your hand like this. And so Waylon was a photo op bird. Good job. So he used to go to other people, and he would do photo ops. And then he ended up just staying with us. He is retired from that now. He hasn't done that since the late 90s.
So what are some special adaptations that these macaws have for survival?
So one of the things is this massive beak that they have. So like I said, they will eat things like nuts in the wild, and they have to be able to crack open their nuts. Parrots have the most powerful of the beaks whenever it comes to birds, and macaws and cockatoos have the strongest ones. He has over 1,000 PSI bite force.
Wow.
It only takes about 7 to break a finger.
So if you really wanted to.
If he wanted to, those would be his fingers. But a neat thing about the parrots, though, is biting is actually a learned behavior. In the wild, they don't bite each other, and in captivity, they start out not biting. Whenever you have a parrot that bites a lot, they learned that behavior, and that's because well, we're really good at speaking English. Well, most people are really good at speaking. I'm not good at speaking English, but not as many people are good at reading bird body language or animal body language. So if he doesn't want something, he might even just lift certain feathers a certain way or just change the angle of his head. But if I don't pick that up, he's going to have to eventually say no in a really big way that I understand.
Yeah.
And so biting comes around whenever, well, people aren't understanding that they don't want something, and if they keep going, eventually the bird learns, if I bite, then the person stops. So it is a learned behavior. So even though that big beak is still very powerful, if it's a bird that's properly trained, and as long as I listen to his body language, that shouldn't be an issue.
Like most animals have all the body language before they resort to biting.
That's right.
It might be my hand movements triggering him, I'm not sure.
So another cool adaptation that they have is, you'll notice he's got 2 toes in the front. Yes, I did the wave. And he's got 2 toes in the back. That's going to help them with the way that they climb as well. It helps them with gripping. So parrots are what's called zygodactyl when they have 2 in the front and 2 in the back with their toes. But it helps with the way that they climb and the way that they perch.
So how long have you been working with this macaw?
I've been working with Waylon for a little over 4 years. Hey, buddy. And he's definitely one of my favorite parrots to work with.
And we were here for the little demonstration that you guys had out front, and it seems like they have like favorites, or people like they don't like to work with. So
yeah, birds definitely have their own favorite people as
kind
well.
Of a personality.
Yeah, absolutely. Birds do have their favorite and least favorite people. Waylon likes me a lot. The nice thing about Waylon is Waylon does like most people, but we do have birds that for example, Mortimer's a turkey vulture that we have. Mortimer loves me. Mortimer does not like too many other people. Where we also have Max, a tawny eagle. Max doesn't like me very much, but they each have their own people that they like or dislike, and it might be from working really hard to build that relationship, or it might be that you've done even something that you don't realize that you've done. That bird has decided, you know, hey, I didn't like that you did that, and we're not going to be friends.
Like they were mentioning that, like some of them like males only or females only, or some of them don't like people with beards.
It's true. So it could be that maybe every time a bird went to the veterinarian, maybe every time that happened, it was a girl that took them. So they might decide that they really don't like girls. Or it could be that they had a bad experience with someone with a beard. Or maybe they've never really been exposed to beards, so they're not sure about that.
And they're pretty smart, too.
Oh, absolutely. Parrots, they're ranked number 2 in the bird world for intelligent, with corvids like crows and ravens being ranked number 1.
So with their intelligence, does this macaw know any certain behaviors or words?
Yeah, Waylon doesn't know as many words as some birds do, but that has to do with he's a macaw, and they're not massive on the vocabulary like an African gray or an Amazon parrot. But Waylon does still know some words. Can you say hello? A very quiet hello. The other word that he really knows how to say is, who's your buddy? Yeah, he used to have a friend named Cracker. And then there's one other thing that he says anyways. Can you laugh? Yes, you're so funny. But he does still have a couple of other cues that he does. Can you wave? Thank you. And this is a tough one. I don't know if he'll do this one. He doesn't always do this one. Can you do big wings? Good job.
And then you mentioned earlier that he knows how to do donations.
Yes, and he does know how to do donations. And we worked hard on that one. Can you knock? Yes.
So how does getting birds involved with donations help out?
So that really helps out because, one, since these are a super intelligent bird, having them learn new behaviors and complete those behaviors, that actually helps keep them mentally healthy and happy. And so that's really important for their health. But on top of that, at World Bird Sanctuary, we are a nonprofit. So the only way that we actually make money to take care of the over 200 birds that we have is through donations. So by teaching one of our birds to take donations, people are more likely to give money directly to a bird than to a person.
It just kind of gets a hands-on experience with an animal,
yeah,
which everyone
absolutely.
likes.
Absolutely.
So how else can people help out World Bird Sanctuary?
So we do take donations. We also if you go to Amazon, we have an Amazon wish list. You just have to look up World Bird Sanctuary. Amazon also has another cool thing. It's called Amazon Smile. And if you do that, you can select a charity of your choice, and anytime that you shop while on Amazon Smile, they donate a portion of the cost from your items to that place. But other things you can do, we always take in volunteers, and even just spreading the word, telling people about World Bird Sanctuary so they come out and visit. By coming out and visiting, I mean, you get to learn things and you can help out the birds just by doing that.
And you have a great facility here. You have a brand new emu enclosure.
Yes, we do.
Which I think was put up like a couple of days ago.
Yeah,
finished.
The emus went in there on Tuesday.
So that's only like a couple of days ago from the time we're filming this.
Absolutely.
Then you're building a whole bunch of new enclosures up there. You have like a downtown site. Or the downhill site, I think.
Yeah, so we have a lower site, and it's down a hill. And we're redoing most of our facilities because as there's more studies done on animals, you can learn more about their needs. So we're improving our exhibits so that they fit the needs of our animals better.
And obviously that takes money. So
that takes a lot of money. So yeah, so like the emu exhibit, that was all paid for by a handful of donors. Or like at our rehab hospital, we just got in a new x-ray machine, and it was actually our board of directors that came forward, and they donated all of the money for that. And another donor donated the funds that we needed in order to get an anesthesia machine so that we can do surgeries on site.
And that's awesome that people are all coming together to help birds worldwide.
Absolutely. So something like an emu enclosure, that costs a lot of money, but even just pocket change helps because it adds up, and that does become a lot of money. So even if you can't donate like $100, even donating like 50 cents still helps.
Well, thank you so much for telling us about the donations in the Macaw here.
You're welcome.
And as always, I hope you guys enjoyed this week's episode. Don't forget to leave a big thumbs up down below, subscribe to my channel, and also check out my Instagram @ColeShirk. And as always, I'll see you next week.